Okay, well, we're calling the Board of County Commissioners back together. And I would ask for a motion to go into the Board of Equalization.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we enter in the Board of Equalization as requested.
Have a motion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, passes unanimously. We are now convened as the Board of Equalization, or BOE. We recognize and support your right to come register your concern and appeal the appraisals that are given. Our duty is to hear both sides and make a determination based upon facts as we see them. The assessor must assess the values at market value on all properties in Bannock County. The appeal process gives a property owner the chance to appeal said value before this board. If for some reason the decision rendered does not meet with your satisfaction, we encourage you to file an appeal with the State Board of Tax Appeals. Another option available to you is relief through the district court. It is imperative that you focus on property valuation, not on protest or your taxes or any other matter. This is just on the valuation of the property. I'll ask the Deputy Clerk, Nancy Allen, to swear those who are going to participate in the hearing to stand and be sworn in.
Speaking at your hearing, please stand and raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear that any testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
With that being said, we'll go ahead and ask Jory to come on up. I'm going to have you state your name for the record, and then I'm going to give you 3 minutes to give your side, and then we'll ask some questions, and I'll give 3 minutes to the assessor's table. We can have some questions, and I'm going to give you 2 more minutes to rebuttal. All comments are made towards the board, though. No arguing between each other.
Thank you.
All right.
My name is my name is Jory Treese, and I'll just go into the presentation of my case. I'd like to thank the gentleman for giving me the opportunity to come and to present this matter to you today and to address you. The property that we're looking at, the best indicator as far as I'm concerned of valuation is recent sales in the vicinity. I've previously provided you with evidence of the 2 adjoining property lots to our particular property that were sold in August of 2019 for $25,000 apiece. Those were lots number 16 and 17. Our lot is number 18. Our property is indistinguishable from the other 2 lots, at least from a physical contour basis. There have been no other sales that I'm aware of in the area that would be comparable to our property. A little bit of background information about this parcel of property. It truly is barren, it's unproductive, it's unimproved mountainside property. In 2004, a wildfire ravaged the property, burning everything in sight, including our residential cabin that was 3 years in the making and approximately 3 months from being completed. At that point, the fire took in 3 canyons. Firefighters were able to save all structures except for 2, ours being one of those structures. To this date, there is still no vegetation at all anywhere on the property. Even sagebrush and field grass has yet to return even at this stage. The only thing that exists in our property is the eerie carcasses of burnt out cedar trees. There is no electricity or water on the property. The nearest electricity is about 2 miles away. It would cost over $100,000 in order to get the electricity to the property. Being in the Crystal Springs subdivision is a deceptive description. There is no water available. We have contacted a water witch who has estimated that a well of about 450 feet would have to be drilled in order to produce any water. The new owners of the 2 adjacent lots that I referred to earlier have recently been informed by the county that they don't even have actual ingress and egress rights to their property. There is no roadway to allow them to even have access to their property. there is basically a two-track roadway to our property about 3 city blocks long in order to access it. The fire of 2004 caused our log cabin to essentially implode. The support rods running.
Your time.
Okay.
Thank you. Questions?
The only question we have right now is, does this particular parcel currently have easement and access to get to it via that two-track road?
I can answer that one, and
Yeah.
yes, I had the foresight that when I purchased our lot, I did include a requirement of having ingress and egress. So my particular lot does have ingress and egress.
Okay, thank you.
No more questions.
Okay, your 3 minutes begin.
Thank you. When we take a look at this piece of land, we're looking at a 20.4 acre parcel of land just outside the McCammon area. So when our appraisers worked up what sort of comparable properties they were seeing in the market and in the immediate area, these were all within the McCammon vicinity of the subject property. When we look at sale prices, currently in our market, we are seeing certainly some healthy sales prices on pieces of land that are very similar. When we look at our comparable sales, subject 1 is twice the size at 40 acres. It had a time-adjusted sales price of $155,000, which is double the size but triple the value. When we look at the other 2 comparable sales that we submitted, those were actually both slightly smaller, and both of those had sales prices even before a time adjustment that were higher than the subject property. So it would be the recommendation of our office that we have found equity, if not on the low end, and that we would not make any further adjustments to the property value. Thank you.
Okay. Rebuttal?
Are those mountainside properties?
It does appear that at least 2 of the subject properties do have a fair amount of topography.
Do they have utilities?
We do not currently show the utilities are ran or being valued on any of the comparable properties.
Have they been subjected to a fire?
We currently have no records indicating whether or not any of the comparable properties have had any sort of fire exposure.
Is there anything that grows on those properties?
Okay, I'll question right here.
Back to us.
Okay.
Right here.
I would question as to
We're not
whether-
going back and forth. It's
Okay.
just right here.
I would question as to whether or not these properties are comparable based on the fact that there has not been a fire. This property is unique in the sense that it is barren, and I don't think any of those other properties that have been described fit within the same qualification of being barren. I would also request that the board inquire as to whether or not there's any rehabilitation costs that would be associated with those comparables that he's referring to. This particular property that we're talking about here has a compromised foundation that would cost approximately $15,000 to remove in order to bring it to a point that is comparable.
Mr. Chairman,
Thank you.
point of clarification. The current structure, so the structure burned completely, was total loss.
Correct.
Foundation is left, foundation is a compromised state,
It is.
so foundation is open.
Foundation is open, however, it was a log cabin structure that has
Piling.
rebar piling that go up. It essentially imploded during the fire, which compromised the top of
There is no well, or there was no power prior to the fire.
There was not.
Okay.
Any other questions?
No. Well, the only way to get to your house or your property is that dirt road over the top of the ridge?
That is correct. It's approximately a mile and a half from what they refer to as the school bus turnaround top of
So,
Crystal Street.
I have one more point of inquiry. In the packet, there's two sales agreements from First American Title Company dated in 2019. Both of those parcels that sold, I just want to make sure that I'm correct. Those are the parcels that surround the property, or where are they in location to the property?
They are both located adjacent to the property. If you're facing our property from the roadway, they are the ones that are to the left. Ours is 18. The properties that are in the packet are number 17, which is adjacent to ours, and then 16 is adjacent to number 17.
Okay.
The frontage is about, I would say, maybe 300 feet, so those properties are adjacent, and the other property is about 300 feet down the roadway.
Kind of as I look through, especially when you have sales agreements and some of this other stuff, and I get some of the points that have been made. You do have structure that's no longer, there's no value in that. Then you do have two parcels that did sell. They are outside of the acceptable time window by a couple months, and they would need to be adjusted. But even if you went from those two parcels, which are pretty much the same size, I would call them the same. That even if you took them and added 30% onto that, that's still $32,500.
That's where I was at.
So I think that would be my recommendation on this parcel, Mr. Chairman. Is that for, hold on. Parcel number RPR 422-500-4108, that we adjust the land value to $32,500.
We have a motion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
So, sir, we have adjusted. Like I say, if you are unhappy with that, or if the assessor's office is unhappy with that, you both have the avenue of going to the state to appeal further. But that is the decision of this board.
Once again, thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Cindy Smith? Please state your name, and then your 3 minutes will begin.
Cindy Smith. The value for an infill lot on an alley, and there's no yard, there's no room for a garage, is steep. Even if you use a 20% hike in prices on the lot value, the total for the lot and home off last year's assessment would only put the value on the property of $189,892.80, but the market only increased 18% on the average. So I would say, based on last year it was $90,695, that would put the lot value at $24,258, and I can see the value for the home going up the $165,635. I agree with that, with the prices of the market increase. But I don't understand how the value could go up from $96,995 per up to $46,250 on the small lot that I have, because there's been absolutely no improvements in the 15 years that I've had the house. And the basement is unfinished.
Okay. Questions?
No questions.
Your 3 minutes begin.
Thank you. In reviewing the subject property, during our conversations with the appellant before the BOE timeline started, we did acknowledge that this parcel is one of the unique ones that we do look for. And when we do mass appraisal, unique properties are always something we want to keep an eye out for. This one, when we look at the Pocatello town site area, it does have a smaller than average lot. Also, so we did change the classification of this lot to be basically one level lower in value than the standard lot in that neighborhood. So that lowered the land value. Additionally, considering the alley access, we applied an additional reduction of 20% land influence on that. So prior to BOE, we lowered the total land value down from $46,250 to $26,000. That resulted in a recalculated assessment value of $191,635. And it would be our recommendation that with finding no other cause for adjustments on our end, that we would go with that new lower value. Thank you.
Rebuttal, question back?
So you're saying that it should be 191? I'm just asking.
Yes, the suggestion from the assessor's table now is $191,635.
Total.
Everything.
Okay.
And you was at 189. I mean, we're within a couple
Yeah,
$1,000.
yeah, I can agree with that. Now, I've never done this before, so will I get a new one of those papers?
You will get a notice saying what happened, and then when your tax actually comes to you, it will be off of this new assessed value.
Okay, now, last year, there was a problem. I was supposed to come to a hearing, and they said I didn't have to, and we agreed on a change. Well, in December, the property taxes still was the higher amount, they did the higher amount, and my stuff never got updated on my record when I called over to the county. So I've had some issues.
Mhm.
So I want to make sure that the stuff gets recorded because of the problem I had last year, because Idaho Housing has still got the excess property taxes that they paid, that they paid for my taxes. You guys refunded it to Idaho Housing, but Idaho Housing still has it, and so they raised my,
Your percentage.
my pay that I have to pay. So I want to make sure that things get right this time, and I don't have that problem.
Well,
Because I'm still fighting stuff from last year.
Okay. Anita, do you have a comment?
We're gonna look something up here, to see if,
And I can speak to it a little bit on the issue from last year. She is correct that we did reach a settlement last year. Something fell through the cracks, so in December we did a tax cancellation for the difference.
That's what I'm
It
asking.
sounds like there's probably an issue with Idaho Housing and their escrow account where it might have the difference went to them.
The difference did go to them, and they were supposed to call me back after they got stuff fixed. I still haven't heard back from Idaho Housing.
Okay.
And it's been
Since December.
yeah.
Okay.
I have a question, Mr. Chairman. I look at the two lots that are about similar size directly across the street, and the lot that is directly behind her, and they're all at $15,000 price, about $22,000 or 26 is indicated there. So if I make the adjustment on the lot plus 15%, I would propose a price of $182,885. Just because those lots are, we got four of them there, they're all the same, and she's the smallest of the four.
Well, and the lot just
Hold on a
across.
second.
Okay, this is discussion here now, okay? Your time's
beat me to
up.
it.
Sorry.
Okay. Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we place the value on parcel number RPRPPOC 176100 to a value of $182,885, with the change coming off the land, or setting the land value at $17,250, and then leaving the improvement value as is. Is that right?
Balance would be off of.
Yeah, the balance
Off
would
the
come
land.
off of that. That should all come off the land.
Okay, we have a motion. All in favor, say aye.
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 So we actually reduced it further. We went to 182,885. And then I would have you stay in close contact with the assessor's office. It'll take a little bit for us to get the paperwork and everything caught up, but call over there and talk?
Call
and-
over there like a month or something?
Anita?
Yeah, within the next 3 weeks.
Okay.
And, yeah.
Okay, like I said, I just had problems last year and I don't want problems again this year.
Okay.
I don't blame you.
Yep.
Okay, thank you for your help.
Thank you,
You
ma'am.
bet. Jason?
Gentlemen, before I start my 3 minutes, can I ask you, have you got all the field material on the carcinogen, on the site, all that?
We have everything that was delivered to our office 3 days ahead. If
You have it all?
I heard that you submitted some stuff that was actually after the 3 days.
Not true.
And if that's what, we don't have it, so it had to be within the 3 days.
I had it, this is 3 PM, I got notified, I noticed it Friday morning, I jumped on it, worked the weekend, and I had it all faxed in here before 3 PM Monday. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and this is 3 PM Thursday. So it was at 2:07, the last fax we did, so.
All I can tell you is, I don't know, I just tell you what we have here.
I got a record of it. Now's not the time to delve
Yep.
into it, I
So
understand.
you can,
But I want, that's kind of upsetting to me when I work all weekend
No,
to
we,
get it in.
I believe it says 3 business days, so a business day would not be considered the time of day. The business day would be either considered close of business or opening of business.
Okay, sir. Monday at 3 PM to Tuesday to Wednesday to today would be.
So
3
I would
business days.
call business, the opening of business Monday morning, is how I would call it. So when I see that, and when we do that, that's why we do that, because we're holding them to the same standard. I don't let them bring anything in. We don't do that. And so
Well-
we make it fair, because this is a semi-judicial hearing, and so we're not gonna give one side the advantage over
I
the other side.
understand that.
So,
I understand that, Commissioner. However, still 3 business days to me is 24 hours a day, and I didn't pick up the notification until Friday morning that I had to be at 3 PM with 3 days whacked off. But anyway, I wanted to make
okay,
that clear.
your time's gonna begin. State your name,
let's roll.
and here we go.
Okay, my name is Wayne Tayson. Well, you know what I'm appealing. First thing I want to bring up, this is the 4th time, Commissioners, I've been before this Board of Equalization hearing. The 4th time I've presented basically the same material I'm presenting now. The Board of Equalization has ruled with me the 3 previous times. Do you have a copy of that? Do I need to prove that to you?
No, it's on our,
Okay, you've got that down there, okay. The big thing here that I think got overlooked, I do agree that the price is determined by buyer and seller, as Sherry Davis said. I concur with that. This lot is set up on Pocatello Professional Plaza. Everything else sold, bang, 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 bang. The reason this did not sell is there is very little ingress and egress room, about 100 and some feet on one corner of that. There's a 16-foot drop off between the adjoining lot on the east. On the west, there's like 8 foot. And on the, anyway, all the different, averages out over 6-foot drop off. It's just kind of set and contained. The area that has been utilized and assessed is what, they started out 2.67 acres, and I have a plot map that was submitted Monday, which from Rocky Mountain Engineering, which shows 2.23 acres, which was included in there. So I disagree with the areas. Also, the other 3 times that I've been before the Board of Equalization, I brought up the reason this lot is not sold. Dr. Ben Call and Dr. West are partners in this, part of the CPW, and they wanted to build there, but they would not because of the Idaho Power substation set right next to it. I have submitted probably 15 pages from WHO, which is the World Health Organization, stating the reasons why they would not build there and why that lot is not comparable to any of the others around it. So that's the main problems right there. And you can only ingress it from Medical Way, which is a private road. There is no ingress or egress feasible from Terry, George Parkway, or Hawkaway. That's the only feasible access. That's why that lot is not sold. I've paid over $150,000 in taxes throughout the past 30 years. It's been through 3 real estate firms here that have tried to sell it and haven't even had one offer of a buyer, not even an offer, because of these problems. And last time we came to $284,000, the Board of Equalization agreed to even reduce that, which didn't happen, and it wasn't enough to come in and fight about. Is that my time?
Yep. Thank you. Question?
No questions.
Your 3 minutes begin.
No, it's over. You gotta laugh a little bit in here, guys. Come on.
Nancy says you're done.
Thank you. So, in reviewing this subject property, it does appear that our details are currently reflected accurately and equitably. We did make some adjustments after speaking with the appellant before the BOE proceedings. We found that a total of 0.621 acres actually should be classified as right-of-way or waste space. So we removed that. That lowered the 2021 assessed value down to $686,168. We do feel that is accurate. We don't necessarily ever go with an asking price like where this property had been listed at $1.2 million. We're looking for what would the market actually bear. And so we wanted to address the concerns that the appellant had. And when we reviewed it, this was one of the parcels that we found in our analysis this year to be a commercial piece of land that was valued far below the equity of its surrounding properties. All of the commercial properties in the immediate vicinity are currently valued at about $8 a square foot. So we had adjusted this to match that rate. When we considered topography, the topography did not appear to be substantially different from any of the neighboring parcels that have been developed, demonstrating there is a market desire to develop a similar piece of land. When we considered the frontage, we did find the parcel to have more available frontage on Medical Way than any of the other properties currently operating on that street. And then when we considered the appellant's concern about the EMF issues, we also, we do show the Hotel Children's Clinic currently operates in the exact same proximity to that substation as this property. So we do find that there is certainly a market desire to develop these properties and to operate these properties in this area. So outside of our lowered amount of $686,168, we could find no further cause for additional reduction. But we would recommend that we do lower that value to the $686,168. Thank you.
2 minutes to rebuttal.
Okay. Number one, when I talked to this gentleman, I get to the gentleman I talked to, never got any evaluation for the carcinogen problem. The Women's Children's Clinic has nothing to do with it. The distance, if you will read that WHO report, they bought a whole extra building lot so they could move. They bought one, they ran into this problem, they bought a whole nother lot. And so they could move farther away from it. And they're within the distance of where it's not a concern. To build on this, when you're done, it would be all in the concern area. That's why Dr. West, Dr. Call, neither one would build it. As far as the topography, none of the others have a 16-foot differential between the upper lot and average at almost 7 feet all around it, except for one chunk on Medical Way. There are no government-supported utilities. There's no street lights in the government. The street's not government. The sewer and water out there are all private. None of it is government mandated, maintained, or anything. And we got no credit, I feel, for that at all. And the gentleman here mentioned 0.16 acres not valuable. That's not true. It's incorrect according to Rocky Mountain Engineering. They come up with 1 acre. I put it in my appeal rebuttal. And I've got their drawings from Rocky Mountain Engineering. In fact, they a lot of money to set that up. And the overall acreage is 1.23, which is also in that appeal from Rocky Mountain Engineering. We've got a lot of errors in this according to the actual situation. And when you go 30 years and you do not get an offer, when you've had 3 real estate firms working on this, I don't care if we offered it for $3 million, whatever. Somebody would come in and say, I'd like that, but I'm only going to pay that, and it's not even one.
Okay,
Right.
that's it, okay. Commissioners, comments,
Well,
questions, discussion?
The problem I have is while there's the WHO article, the WHO does not regulate here. The children's hospital or the children's clinic is within the same distance, and your standoffs for building would actually be in the same distance. The problem is at $200,000 and some odd and the rate of commercial ground for dirt, you've been far undervalued. Every year under the state of Idaho, you're required to come to the Board of Equalization. If it doesn't matter if you come every single year, the value is attained every year. At the 686,168, I actually think that's correct, and I don't have a problem with that. I mean, there's obviously people that bought and built, and if Dr. West and Dr. Call don't want to build there, that's 2 people in the market. But there is dirt that meets building criteria. Idaho code does not regulate and does not exclude a EMP field, which that is not generating an EMP field, but that's okay. So, Mr. Chairman, I would move on this parcel that we uphold the new value of $686,168.
Question?
I'm trying to find a counter argument for Commissioner Tuffy, but I can't.
Will we have a motion? All in favor, say aye.
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 So passes unanimously. This board has agreed with the assessor's office. They come down to a different value than the original. They've gone from 902,560 to 686,168. And you have the ability and the right to appeal to the state.
Which we will. So
That's fine. Thank you.
I'm not going to thank you. That was a joke. I just said that tongue in cheek, gentlemen.
That's like saying thank you to a police officer when you get hit.
Same idea.
I understand, 100%. Thank you.
Next.
Wayne?
Can I bring my wife up here?
Yeah, she stood and was sworn in. Oh, yeah. That's from your office.
Yeah, she's in here.
I was like, what are you doing here? Okay, never mind.
What's she doing clean back there? You want a front row
Coming to
seat?
support us.
Old neighbor.
Oh. All right, state your name, please.
Wayne Lott.
Yvette Lot.
Okay, your 3 minutes begin.
Appreciate your time and consideration today for, I guess they call this a case. My glasses on so I can see what I'm doing. I actually appreciate an opportunity to do this. I don't want a number thrown at me and just feel like I'm obligated. At least I have a say, right? Or we have a say.
There's a process.
There's always a discussion.
So, 6 or 7 years ago, we bought this property for like $31,000. It was badly damaged. We spent quite a bit on it, and we wanted to make a home for someone who couldn't afford to buy their own home. And so we did that. Found out later it had had a previous fire. It had also been a duplex, and we made it a single-family home. Had another fire about 5 years ago, and the contractor went in. It was a 2-room fire and went into the attic a little ways, but we had him do the repairs. Found out at that time, even though we had coverage for insurance, it didn't cover rent, and we never found out why. The insurance company claimed the home did not qualify for rental coverage, and we never know. Still don't know why. You have anything to say?
Yeah, I'm just,
between, this is 1741 North Main, obviously, you guys have that in front of you. Compared to last year, value to this year has almost doubled. And that area, it's on North Main. I mean, that area, it's not like it's Satterfield or anything, you know, or somewhere. So the concern is that it's almost doubled there. And I'm not quite sure the reasoning for that, but there really hasn't been any other improvements on the home, on that place. There hasn't been any roof put on or anything like that. So we just, and there's had the same renters in there for how many years, 4 or 5 years. So nothing really has changed. And we're just asking you to consider that. Anything else?
Yeah, I did read through some articles that say it's pretty rare for a property to increase from one year to the next, more than 30%. I'm sure we're somewhere around 90% on this one. And if I asked anyone in this room if you want to live on North Main Street, you'd probably not want to. And that's one reason we got it, so someone who could not afford a home would still have a place to live.
All right, thank you. Question?
No questions.
Your time, 2 minutes.
Thank you. So interviewing the home, we do show the home was originally built in 1820. We show it to be of fair quality and average condition. We do not currently list any improvements or upgrades that have been made to the structure. When we looked at comparable homes and what is selling in the market, we did find similar homes in the areas. With our submitted comparable sales, our comp number 2 is a smaller home overall. When we look at the above grade square footage, when we look at a time adjusted price, it sold for a little bit less. And when we look at a home 1 block away on Main Street as well, we have a time adjusted price of $145, which is a little higher than this. That home does appear to be in better condition, but it is smaller in total square footage. So what we are looking for is there market activity in the area? I mean, we do show market activity over there. And one of the most important things when we speak with any property owner is to make sure that we have the details of this specific property accurately reflected. And when we went through that file, it does appear that we do have them accurately reflected as far as the overall age and condition of the home. So our recommendation would be to keep the assessed value of the $142,822, and to address the appellant's very valid concern about the percentage of increase this year. This home was just drawn in for the 2021 assessment. And so when we look at those increases, we're looking for anything that can quantify why it went up so much. And our data shows that what is likely the cause is that it had been undervalued for some time. So that's why we show that there was such a dramatic increase when we completed the conversion into our current system.
2 minutes rebuttal.
Yeah, something we didn't mention, I guess, is to get from the front to the back of the house, you pretty much have to go around the block. You could squeeze through next to the garage and fence where the fence leans a little. On the other side, you'd have to go to your neighbor's yard to get through. It's just such a tight little spot. And every time it rains heavy, driveway down in is dirt and it floods the garage. It's got the original 1920 asbestos shingles on the sides, which are cracking and breaking pieces off, and there's no replacements for them. We did have some of the higher ones replaced with a little bit of siding. The construction job that took a full year was really done poorly, and the people who live there really need the place and are doing all they can to upgrade and have a garden and make it nice. But I think the valuation, I can't say I would pay anything close to what's been on these numbers that have come up new. We're pretty shocked that way that anyone would want to live there, first of all, 1741 North Main, but they've done the best they can. They've mentioned crime is up, and they've put cameras in the front and back, and that's held people off a little. The other thing to close is if these people can't, if we're forced to sell the home because we can't double our tax payment, they will end up paying half the taxes because right now we pay full tax and they would get the tax credit for being homeowners, whoever moves in. So the county would actually have a reduction overall if this happened. I mean, you all know that, I guess.
Okay, thank you. Commissioners?
Jason, can you give me the current year's valuation on an RP? I'm gonna ask you for two.
Okay, go ahead.
RP POC 308,000. It's the next door neighbor.
This one has also been drawn in. That one is currently valued at $138,821.
How much?
$138,821. It actually sold last year for $166,50.
Okay, and then if you look at RP, let's see, RPPOC 308,200.
That property is currently valued at $115,234. That one has also been drawn in for all three of these.
Okay, because when I look at last year's values, there's the three to the, I guess it'd be the south, they're still in here at like 80 some odd thousand, and so the other two were up, so I think the reality is probably somewhere in the 120 to 130 range.
Yeah, I mean, I actually know the property, and like I said, I would probably in that low 120s, high teens, for the market time frame that we're talking about in the assessment. I think today, its market is what's going on. I think this is a different as of just in what we've seen in the last 6 months, but it's the time frame as of January 1. I'd probably say, and probably that high teens or 20s, somewhere there.
We did give the renters a chance to buy the house. Ended up they was not able to do that.
Jason, can you give me one more then?
Yes.
RPPOC 308,300.
This one has also been drawn in. It is currently valued at $80,363.
That's two houses to the south.
For 80,000
It's 634 square feet
on main floor without basement,
with what appears to probably be more like a dirt floor basement.
dirt floor dugout.
228 square feet down.
Yeah, so it's just a cold room.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
I never did ask.
I mean, like I said, it's one of those things that I get it. It is on the north end of North Main that you do have. Like I said, as of today, what people are paying, we're watching people buy things at, oh my word, 6 months ago, maybe a little bit calmer. So like I said, I'd probably say in that tween.
This is just seems like it doesn't have anything in the basement, it looks like.
There's no basement in this place. It's a 1 3/4 bath.
I'd feel comfortable matching that maybe than the 115.
You want to fire that up?
Let me just double check here. Yeah. Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we adjust the value on parcel RPPOC 3081002, $115,234. Let the value changes come off the improvements.
Okay, we have a motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes unanimously. So we come down to 115 from where you was at, plus some change. Better clarify that. If you're not happy with that, you do have the ability to appeal to the state or then go to the district court. Other than that, we're done.
Great.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Good luck with 4th of July.
Trying to get everybody to figure out when to push the button is a lot harder than what we think. Enjoy the fireworks.
Thank you.
Okay.
We have two admin.
Kelly Horitz, and this is one that she states in her appeal, I'm high risk and am unable to meet, but would appreciate this being reviewed and a reduction, so. Jason, we'll go ahead and turn time over to you.
When we reviewed this property, we looked at other sales, both on 12th Street, on 10th Street, and 14th Street, so in the immediate vicinity of the, kind of the ISU area and the Pocatello town site. And when we looked at the assessed value of the 195,945 and looked at the time-adjusted sales prices of the similar properties in the area, we found this to be a little on the lower end, but still within the range of the comparable properties. When we looked at the price per finished square foot, this one was on the low end, but pretty close to one of them. So when we reviewed the property for any potential corrections to the file, we did not find any. So it would be our recommendation that we were to stay with the assessed value.
Question, Commissioner?
My only thing is some of the houses that, and again, I know that we're not using just specific comparables, but the north end of 12th hasn't gentrified yet, as it has on the south end of 12th. You go onto the south end of 12th Street, and you have a much different neighborhood once you cross Center and Clark. And so I would just say that I get that I'd probably be a little understanding, considering I think the good prosecutor sitting here has had to deal with a couple of the murders that have occurred in our town or in that neighborhood.
Well, this is another one that I look, and they've been to BOE in 2019, 2020, and it still looks like we've jumped over the BOE and really raised it more than I think that it should be. If we look at our records and what we've done in the past, and you take the BOE from last year at 150, 151, do the 15%, you're at 172, 674.
What my math says.
Oh, I forgot one.
And so I'd make a motion on parcel RPPOC040800 that we make an adjustment on the improvements, so the total value of 172,674. Got a motion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Passes unanimously. All of them for that one?
I think we just got admins left, don't we?
4 o'clock canceled.
4 o'clock canceled, or was moved to admin. So,
Which one will be first?
Let's do some admins.
I have Lynn Chappell,
Chappelle?
Lynn LaChapelle. French. No. Used to know a little.
It looks like there's 2 parcels, huh?
Yep.
All right, Jason?
I'm waiting for the packet to open.
Yeah, mine's trying. It's not.
It's a pretty big one.
The first one, let's start with one on Cedar, if that's,
If it pops.
everybody is.
What do you gentlemen have the parcel number? I think it's start there.
Mine is now not responding.
R
Here you go.
P R P C P P 0.08150.
And
All right, let's see here.
Looks like a
Yeah, it's rental.
yeah, when the appraiser looked at this one, we looked at the total assessed value, and I know some of the appellant's largest concerns were the potholes on the road. And from everything we could find, we realized that we don't have any direct control or anything over that. And we actually reached out to our GIS department to just look into it for the appellant, and it appears that at one point the city vacated that portion of Cedar and renamed a northern portion Cedar Street. And so it actually appears that the driveway to this complex is owned by the property owners of the adjoining apartment complex. And so we didn't find anything on our end that represented an opportunity for correction. And when we considered, we even took a look at what similar properties were selling for as far as, 5-plexes, 6-plexes, whatnot. We even took the approach of considering gross rent multipliers, and nothing we found showed that we could find any reason to lower the value.
I don't think you're outside the realm of what should be.
Nope. Even at 15% is 201.
Yeah.
Well, and the whole thing that I have a problem with is what people claim is damage to all this. All the pictures that are in here are all cosmetic. This is not a structural issue. This is not okay, I'll give you $5,000 off for your crappy paint and other stuff. I hate to say that, but that's really what we're starting is we're complaining over what is, and the drainage issue and those things, that would be standard and customary for the homeowner or the landlord to provide adequate and safe stuff.
And what we have observed in the market right now is these properties that have a little bit of deferred maintenance,
They'll be sold instantly.
they are experiencing multiple offers. So we certainly find that there is a strong desire in the market for these properties.
I got a motion for that, Mr. Chair, on parcel RPCP P081500. I make a motion that we uphold the assessor's value.
We have a motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Value is upheld. Next one. Property on Poplar. You need the numbers. RPRPPFV003100.
And what is the name on that one?
This is Lynn. L-A-O. Yeah. Here it has L-A right in front of it. Chappelle. It's like our airline ticket.
That's right.
Checking to see what we have in condition on this property listed as. We have this one listed as fair, a little below average. look at what other stuff is doing in the market and in the area up to 1 block away, we are certainly finding that these homes are definitely selling within the range of where we've assessed this one.
15%, it'd be 122,484.
Yeah.
Which,
I got nothing on this one.
I mean, it's 15%, and that's been kind of the average, but you're checking, I mean, you look at some of this past stuff, up until 19, it was listed at 84. And I think that we probably had the low side, to tell you the truth. Last year they did better, and then when was this sketched? This year? Last year.
It was sketched for this year.
So, yeah, I would say that that's probably in the ballpark. I'd say that it's there.
I'm good with that. So, Mr. Chair, on parcel RP PFV 003100, make a motion that we uphold the assessed value on the property.
Have a motion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes unanimously. Upholding. Next,
Crystal Springs.
Crystal Springs.
This property actually is similar to one that we heard earlier today. It was similar enough that we used the same comps for it and felt the same way about the assessed value. So our recommendation is certainly that we hold with the assessed value. We definitely appreciated the appellant providing sales information. One of the things that we always have to look at is we can never just use one sale. We do need to consider everything that we do see in the area.
So earlier we went to 32.5 on the property in the same area.
That'd be fine,
Yeah. Is this just one parcel? How many parcels? 13. 13. Looks like it's just one parcel. No, two parcels.
Those two parcels, yeah.
Where's 33? There it is. So I got a question on Ed. That one went from 64,000 last year to 70,000. There must be something different on that.
Well, and again, the one earlier that went to 32.5 on, I think was, again, we have some wreckage on there that would have to be removed no matter what because of a fire, because of some other stuff. There's some, I think that parcel has probably a lot more extenuating circumstances than just maybe some of the others. I don't know if the others burned. I'm waiting, my computer shut down, so I have to open it back up again. Sorry. It's sitting here giving me the spinning wheel of death right now.
You're talking 4, 1, 2, 3. That's what you're looking at now.
And they're just both, this one's just both bare land, correct? It looks like they're just making 35.
Yeah. 20-acre parcel. That was what was sold at Crystal Springs.
Yeah. And like I said, yeah, I mean, you're starting to see those parcels are selling, and I do think, I don't think it's at the 50. I mean, I know maybe there's some sales and some other stuff, but there's some roadways up there and some other things that are pretty horrible and, well, they suck. But I don't think it's in as bad a shape as the one that has pilings and stuff that's burned that would have to be removed before you could do anything on the building site.
The RP, the one ending in 133, the 64 to 70, that's only a 9% increase, so I have no heartburn over that one either.
Okay.
So I think both of these are within.
Okay.
I mean, unless they weren't adjusted at BOE last year.
Well, seeing in BOE too, and there's some of the condition in
2019 it was.
and this is the other thing too, is the condition of the land, especially dealing with topography, also comes into play. Because if these lots are flatter, they would be given a, what was the term?
Side
If they're not like super steep, I mean, you can still have a slide hills and grade, but if they're super steep, then you would degrade them even more. And these ones might not be as degraded as the ones further up the hill are, if that makes sense.
Well, I'll just tell you where I'm at.
Go for it.
I'd just go back to last year's values. I mean, those hillsides haven't improved.
Okay.
You look at Ron Vaughn's place and Forest River's place,
Okay.
all it is burnt. So here's a worksheet. So you got on the second parcel, it says go from 70,000 down to 5513.
Is that a recommendation? Why does that put on the worksheet? Typically, those are
Which parcel ending?
This is
4133.
4133.
The worksheet usually indicates that
They've come to an
make
agreement.
an adjustment,
Not
but
that-
let's
So
see.
I would take,
Let's
yeah.
look at this.
They should have
You've
some.
already.
So yeah, looking at the parcel itself, it looks like what they have done is match the value to the other one. It's not something they notified me in the packet, but I would certainly agree with,
Okay.
to keep them at
Yep.
the same value.
Well, that's-
With some of these
I wanna make a
properties
motion on
that
this.
have been not put on a land schedule yet, and that probably haven't been looked at in a while, we are finding, when we do find those slight discrepancies in total value, we are working to try and get those in the same ballpark.
Okay, so on parcel RPR 42250041114, I'd make a motion that we uphold the assessor's value of 50,513, and on parcel RPR 422500413, we take the assessor's worksheet suggestion and also adjust that property to 50513.
Okay. I'm good with that.
Have a motion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. And with that being said, we are